In this episode, we are talking to Karthikeyan P.T.R., whose posts I regularly follow on LinkedIn. We are connected on LinkedIn, who is someone who posts every day on LinkedIn for the last, I think, couple of years. For the benefit of the audience, Karthikeyan, can you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Yeah. Hey guys. Hello Nathan. Thanks a lot for having me. Yeah, myself Karthikeyan, you guys might probably know. I post a lot on LinkedIn, like as he mentioned daily. I work as a business analyst in an analytics consulting firm in Bangalore. So we work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies solving their business problems with data. So it's been close to 2 years for me in data science field, and yeah, I'm loving it.
Okay. So, like I said, you post every single day in LinkedIn. So, how do you do that? How do you keep motivated yourself to post every day?
As Jack Ma says, today will be difficult, tomorrow will be very difficult, but the third day it'll become easy, and the fourth day it will become an habit.
Okay.
All you have to do is be consistent with your effort. And for the first year, I was so fortunate that I was in college, and the final year of college is not so pressurized, at least in my college with respect to. I had a lot of time which I wanted to utilize and help people as well as learn. So that's when I started. So it soon became an habit, and I keep posting every day, and I also have schedules. Let's say morning 9 to 10 probably. I'll read about certain things and share my experience. And if it's not possible in mornings, I'll do it at night. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's the key point there is to make a habit, and then you can build up from there. So
True.
once anything that becomes a habit, then you don't even feel like you're doing it because it's part of
Exactly.
it, isn't it? Yeah.
True.
Karthikeyan, can you tell everyone how did you started your journey into data science? Did you switch from a different field, or did you always wanted to be in this field?
It's an interesting thing. I was my bachelor's was in information technology. I had a little bit of computer science and programming experience before coming into the field, but I would say it started in my third year when wanted to select my electives. So there were a bunch of electives which were management oriented, deep computer science oriented, and as well as the new field of data science, machine learning oriented. So I picked up with business intelligence first. So it was a very, very interesting subject to learn. So that's where I started to explore tools like Tableau, Power BI, yeah, and that's how I started it. And then quickly I chose electives like machine learning, artificial intelligence in my college. It was not so in depth, but it was a very good starter courses. Plus, if you take a course in college, you have to adhere to timelines to study everything and then pass your exams as well. It was not like some self learning. So it started as a college elective, and then I started learning from online sources and other different sources. Yeah, that's how I started my experience in data science. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So you just built up that skills bit by bit, first going into like business intelligence, then into machine learning.
Yeah.
Coming from that point, so if someone wants to get into data science, for example,
Mhm.
even if they're a new starter, they finish their degree in statistics mathematics, that's one way to get into it. Or if someone wants to switch to data science from a different field, what would be the first step that someone should take when they decide to get into this field?
That's a great question. So this has been something that I have been covering in my post for so long because I want to give the perspective from an industry standpoint as well to the people in my post who are following my post. So with respect to that, I would say is the first thing that you should do is probably to explore what all roles are there in a data science stream or let's say in a team. So it's as you mentioned rightly, yeah, there are data engineers, there are data analysts, there are data scientists, there are machine learning engineers, there are business analysts. So the roles are endless. So I would suggest people to start first with understanding each of the role in data science and see where their natural skill set is present. So some people are good at thinking analytically, they can start with being a data analyst. For that, they can start picking up with programming languages like R or Python, and then going from there. So some people might be very good at communication, as well as from a business standpoint, they might have some good industry experience in business and they want to move into analytics. They should probably look into a role of business analyst starting, and then they can, obviously anyone can move into a role of a data scientist or a machine learning engineer soon. Like they get into the industry and get some experience, get some hands-on idea on like how things work, and then moving forward. So rather than thinking like, okay, I'm going to become a data scientist in next 3 months, next 6 months, it's not going to be that way. It's
Mhm.
going to be like getting into an analyst role or getting into a data engineer role, and then getting inspired on what others work, and then learning from there and moving from there. So that's how someone should see a journey into data science, rather than thinking, okay, 45 days, I'm going to become a data scientist. That's not going to work.
Okay, so some really good points there. It's just having that goal first, isn't it? So if I set myself a goal, say, okay, I want to be a data scientist, it's not going to happen overnight. You need to just take that journey and reach there eventually to this field. Can you just quickly explain what is the difference between an analyst, a data analyst, a data scientist, and a data engineer?
Okay, so let's start with data engineer, because how it moves in industry, at least I could see and I have experienced this. First comes the data engineer, then comes the data analyst, and then comes the data scientist. So with respect to data engineer, that's where all the difficult part of like harmonizing the data from different sources. You should be good with your Spark skills if you are going to deal with big data. If not, you're going to deal with SQL, which is very important for all the three roles. But yeah, very, very important for data engineers as well. You need to know how to build pipelines to connect different sources and get it harmonized for the particular use case, and follow all the best practices so that you don't lose out any data, and keep an automated procedure so that this is not going to be a one time process. So the data engineer should keep in mind that he has to automate everything that he is doing, so that an analyst or a scientist would be getting periodical data so that they can work on their part. So this would be like a gist of what data engineer usually does. And with respect to data analyst, from my standpoint, I have worked as analyst as well as a data scientist, and I'm moving towards the data science part of the business itself, and like doing a lot of hands-on right now. So from an analyst standpoint, it would be to like perform the basic tasks like understanding the data better, doing a proper exploratory data analysis, like find out probably interesting insights and interesting findings, so that you will be on your toe to tell people that, okay, this is what you have in the data and you have analyzed these things, and you can give this thing as an output to a data scientist, who can then think of, okay, let's try how we can model something out of this. And if it's going to be a prediction problem or a classification problem, he'll be more inclined on working uh, on the modeling part itself. And to be honest, these people doesn't work in silos. Those people have to work together day in day out. So in my team, I have data engineers, I have data analysts, I have data scientists, business analysts. So all these folks work together in conjunction to get the data proper, to analyze it proper, to build models on top of it. So this is basically the gist, or a brief of like what each of these roles and people do in that role.
Okay, yeah. So some really good points there. It's all about like working as one team, isn't it? There's like no separation between, no silos between these teams. So just to say what you said in like in a nutshell, a data engineer is someone who just implements a pipeline for an analyst or a data scientist to work. And then an analyst would probably not do any predictions, but he'll work with the historic data, or just tell the business like where we are, what the trends are, things like that. And when you move on to the scientist, that's when the prediction comes, and then you will be more like predicting what's going to happen in the future. That's what you said in a nutshell when you come together, isn't it? Uh,
Yeah,
that,
yeah, true. One more thing just to add on there is like again, we all know that data science is a very like, I wouldn't say a new field, because it got exposed a lot in the past few years, but still there are not a particular GD that is JD that is like straight away for a data engineer or an analyst or a scientist. So in many companies, you can expect a data scientist to work the roles of data engineer as well, data
That's right.
analyst as well,
Yes.
and the other things can like the vice versa is also possible in a lot of
Yes.
companies because
Yes.
there's no clear cut definition of a role or a job description for all these roles. So people
That's
have to have this in mind as well when they are thinking about the roles.
That's right. If it's a big company, then you probably have like a data engineer or separate roles. But if it's a startup or a small company, you'll probably be expected to do the whole thing by yourself. So it depends on the role, and it always find out like what is the job description is before you getting into the role, and then get the right skills. That's the gist of what you said, isn't it?
Very true.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. So coming from there. My next question is like, uh, so how much mathematics would be required to get into this field?
That's a great question. And again, a lot of people want to know like how much math should I know, how much stats should I know to get into data science and do all these predictions and everything. Yes, you have to know a bit of math and stats. That's very essential. Then only you will be able to make sense out of things as well as can confidently say, okay, this is something significant happening over here because we can back it up with whatever stats behind it. So the one thing that I would say is like it depends a lot on which background you are coming from. So like in my case, it was I took maths in my high school as well, and if it's going to be an engineering background, obviously you would have got exposed to calculus and all the Fourier transforms, every part of math, but not a core statistics point you would have got exposed to. So probably taking a refresher of a stats course to understand the basics to know better, and then starting from there would be the best thing to do. So a couple of good sources are like Head for Statistics is one of the very good books that you can pick up, which is like not very stats heavy. It explains the statistical concepts like quickly, and you can like learn it over a weekend or 2 weekends. You can like read the book and get a lot of basics done, and then you can move to books like ISLR, which might be a very good source, which has R snippets in itself, okay, with the concepts of all the statistics that you would like to learn for doing all these machine learning stuff. So I would I won't I don't want anyone to get discouraged because if they are coming from a very different background into data science, they are bringing a lot of value in terms of their perspective as well as domain knowledge. Learning stats or mathematics shouldn't be a stopper for them, and there are like so many sources that they can pick up, like I mentioned, which would be a great starting point for them. So I wouldn't say it is like too much you need and then only you can enter. It's just a bit of linear algebra and calculus and all these things that can help you. And yeah, so resources like these books can help you as well
Yeah.
in your journey.
Okay. Yeah. So from what you said, it really depends on the role, but the core skill for any of these roles would be some statistics and some probability and some calculus and some linear algebra. Those are the foundations, in your opinion.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So moving on from the core skills,
Mm-hmm.
someone who is starting out in this journey, and then they
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, what should I learn for? Should I learn R or should I learn Python or should I learn both? So this always is confusion around which language should an aspirant should learn. So what is it, your opinion on that?
Yeah, so once again, this is one of the common questions, and I'm like very happy that you are like listing down all the questions that are like something that a beginner should know and will obviously have in their minds. So with respect to that, again, it depends on your background. So probably you are coming from a engineering background like me. You would have probably got exposed to computer programming already, and picking up Python shouldn't be a big problem for you. But in contrary, yeah, what I did was, at least from my personal experience, I picked up R as my first language that I wanted to learn when I got into data science, and I'm a very R enthusiast, I would say, because I've been using R for like more than 2.5 years now, and I can get my workflows done quickly, and it has its own advantages as well as disadvantages. And Python is something that I am also currently learning and using it in my day-to-day work. So Python is again a powerful language, and if you have a computer science background or an IT background, it would be very easy to pick up. And even if you don't have any of that as your background and you're coming from, let's say, economics, either of both the languages are easy to pick up. And I would suggest, if you are very new to both of them, just start with Python. And then if your use case needs R, or your project needs R, you can pick that up as well. And one interesting point over here is, if you have the time, if you have the resources, learn both the languages, like I'm trying to do right now, and many people are trying to do in the industry as well. Is R is very good with respect to data cleaning and data wrangling. So you can get most of your work done with just tidyverse package itself. Just one package can get your entire data cleaned, wrangled, and ready for any analysis or anything of that sort. And when you want to build some scalable machine learning models and solutions, it is better to move with Python, because it has its own advantages with respect to that area. So I would say an hybrid coding has its own benefit, and I have implemented in my projects where I do professionally or personally, to learn as well as try out things in R and Python, to do cleaning in R, and try out machine learning models in Python. So this would be my take.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. So from what you've said, it's clear that R and Python are essentially tools to get the work done, isn't it? So you can even see in job description R or Python. They won't usually say like you have to know just Python. Essentially, if you're a beginner, just pick one language, learn it, then take it from there. It doesn't matter which one you choose.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it also comes with an advantage that you will know, okay, this problem can be solved simply in this language, and it is taking a little bit more time or like complex steps to do it in another language. So unless and until you know the language, or you know the idea on how it works, you'll not be able to find out the best solution for your problem. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, you need the best solution for your problem, not Python only should be the solution for it, or
Yes.
R is only the solution for it. Yeah,
Yes.
that mindset should be there.
Yes, that's really true. And so when someone's starting out, they shouldn't be like confused about, okay, spending too much time about which one should I learn, which one should I. They should just pick one language, learn it, and get the job done. Then take it from there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. My next question would be like, if someone is starting out, who is new to this field, or who is someone is switching his career. So how can someone with no technical background get into this field? Do they need to do a master's or a PhD? This also applies for people who looking to switch their career. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question as well as a tricky question, and it doesn't have one right answer. That's something that I want to say before my view on it. So the one thing that I would say is, if you have the time, the resources, and the ability to do a master's in let's say business analytics or data science, you should do it, because you have all the flexibilities to do that particular thing. So why not just go ahead, do it, because you will get a lot of good exposure. You will be able to probably do it in some other country where you will learn a lot, as well as you can get into a job market which might be much more superior than in your native country. So again, it comes down to, if you have the resources, you have the time, as well as you have the necessity to do a master's to get into this, yeah, you can go forward and do it. That's what I would say. uh, let's come to the other side, where without even masters, yes, we can see a lot of people are getting into roles like business analyst, data scientist, data analyst. So how it starts, I would say, is learning a lot, and as we talked earlier, getting started and doing a lot of projects or building up the portfolio, and then applying to a smaller roles, not like a data scientist role initially itself without any experience, because employers will be very skeptical, obviously, about hiring someone who is not having any experience in a data scientist role. So probably you should find an internship or a data analyst role where you can showcase your analytics capability, as well as you can show your interest on like getting into this field. And from there, you just start your journey, going on, gathering experience, and like moving into far more senior roles. So I have seen a lot of people who have like not have done their masters but have been in data science industry for like over 6-7 years, and they are managers or even VPs are there. And there are also people who have like done masters in computer science and PhD in computer science, moving into data science to give out their experience there as well, and like being in senior roles. So I would say if you have the resources, you should go ahead, do a masters. If you don't have the resources, or you are like having second thoughts on like doing a masters, or shelling out that a lot of money or like your time, or you have your own personal reasons for it, I would say work hard in the other segment to gather a lot of experience, and get into a like very primitive or a normal role, and then build from there. That's how you can get into.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because it's really important that if you are going down the master's route, then that's good. But if you choose not to, then make sure that you have enough projects on your portfolio to show the employer that, okay, you can do the job.
Very true. Very true. So
Yeah.
one more thing, just to add on to that, is uh, target the low-hanging fruits. Target
Yeah.
the startups. Target some companies which you are like, okay, I would be able to like get a lot of exposure there. Not like probably more salary or a exactly desired role. Like target low-hanging fruit and get started from there, because that's what like many people are like trying to as well. So rather than trying to, okay, I'm going to get into Microsoft data scientist role, it'll take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it would need a lot of experience as well. So you might fell short in your first go itself. So that shouldn't be a discouraging thing, but focus something that is low hanging, get started from there and build on from there. That's pretty much what I feel people should do it, because rather than aiming at something and like spending a lot of time and not progressing a lot, that like lot they want to as expected.
Yes, that's really important point there, because the first job that you might get is probably not your dream job, but you need to get that onto your CV for before moving on to the next employer. They can see, like, okay, he has done this role, he has done this experience, so you'll get that interview call, rather than having no experience and expecting to aiming for that your dream job at Google or Microsoft. You should be realistic, and then go with the smaller roles and build up from there.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So we have nearly reached the end of the interview. So as a final question, Karthikeyan,
Mhm.
what would be, if you could give one advice to the new starters or the aspirers, what would
Mhm.
be your one advice to the new starters?
Mhm. Learn every day, be consistent, put the effort, you will get there.
Yeah, simple.
That's what I want to say.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for those points. I'm sure that a lot of people will learn a lot from what we've been talking for in the last
Mhm.
half an hour. So thank you very much for coming in this episode, and I'm sure we'll meet again.
For sure. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.